Oh, hi there. I'm Carmen and I'm a nutritionist, and we're going to be talking all about what to buy at the grocery store so you guys can feel fueled on and off the field. All right, so today we're going to be talking all about what to buy at the grocery store. So I don't know if you guys have ever felt confused when you go to the grocery store and you're like, what the heck should I buy? And you don't know how to cook, and then you're not really sure what to make, and you don't have a lot of money. So we're going to be going through all of that. So Coach Noelle of the lacrosse team went to Trader Joe's and got some of my faves. So we're going to be going through all of this, but a couple starters when you grocery shop. So it's a common rule of thumb trying to shop the outer edge of the grocery store. You're going to see the produce department. So I love it when they have the produce department at the grocery stores at the very beginning, because that's the first thing that you see. So then you're going to fill up on some produce, which we'll talk a little bit about preparation methods, because that can be kind of a confusing area for people. But a good rule of thumb when it comes to produce is I want you guys to try and think of eating the rainbow and eating a variety of different colors. So as athletes, you guys need lots of different nutrients to keep your body nice and fueled with lots of different vitamins and minerals. All those different colors in the fruits and vegetables are showing you all the different nutrients that are in them. And so it's a good rule of thumb. You don't need to know all the nutrients, but try and fill up on a variety of different colors when you're buying your produce. Then you kind of edge around to the dairy department and the meat department, and then you can get into the bulk, and we'll talk through that. But shopping on the outer edge and picking whole foods, so things that you would found in nature. So if it doesn't have all of these, like a sweet potato, it doesn't have a nutrition fact, so we know that we would find this in nature, it's probably a good choice. So I tell my students often, if it comes from a plant, probably eat it. If it was made in a plant, probably not a good option. So trying to eat whole foods that you would find in nature. So we're going to be going through some easy finds that you can typically buy at the grocery store that are cheap, minimal preparation, and things that you can even make in your dorm room. So I was trying to even get creative on things that you don't even have to prepare and that are cheap and you can buy in bulk. So we're gonna start with carbohydrates. So as athletes, you guys need to fuel up on carbs because it gives you energy. It turns into glucose in the body. And so we want to eat carbohydrates that are rich in some nutrients and minimally processed. So one of my favorite things for athletes to eat, especially on game days, is oatmeal. So this is super cheap. You can see it's only $3.99, and this has 20 servings in it. So if we break that down, I'm not a math major, so don't ask me how that breaks down. But it's very cheap per serving. And so if you eat that, you're gonna get a nice bit of carbs to fuel you before your game or to fuel you for the rest of the day. So we have some oatmeal. If those are rolled oats, so they take a little bit more preparation than, say, instant oatmeal, but both of them are really good options. So you just have to add some water. So it's very quick. You can get it in your dorm room or on campus. You can take it with you. Another really great carbohydrate option are tortillas. So these are whole wheat tortillas, or you can get, these are carb savvy. Way to go, Noelle, to get the carb savvy ones. So if you are trying to reduce your carbs, or you're already eating enough carbs in your meal, you can choose different ones. But these are a great option to wrap different proteins and vegetables in as a to-go option that you can take with you on the way to the field. You can pack with you on the way to class. One of my favorite things to do with tortillas, especially if you're busy, is make ahead some breakfast burritos with some eggs and some different vegetables, and wrap them up in tinfoil and then freeze them, and you can take them with you to campus. So a nice little tip there. Another really fun find that they have at Trader Joe's, but almost every single grocery store now has these, which packs a really wonderful punch for athletes because there's carbohydrates and protein in here. Red lentil pasta. You can also see that they have black bean pasta and chickpea pasta as well. And so you're gonna get carbohydrates and protein, which are two of the main things that you need to worry about as athletes. And we'll be going into that more during the other lecture I'll be doing. So red lentil pasta, this also cooks really quickly and is higher in fiber. So it's a really great option, and it tastes really good too. Rice, this is awesome. So it's just straight carbohydrates, but it's also very, very cheap and very quick and easy to prepare. So this is only $2.99 and has 20 different servings as well. And so you can cook this up and then pair it with any protein and vegetable for a really quick and easy meal. Now on game days, you guys have to really think about carbs that are going to be quick and easy and gentle to digest, because we don't want anything that's going to upset your stomach on game day. So one of my favorite tips and treats when you're doing when you have a game or you have a heavy workout are plantain chips. So plantain chips, a plantain is like a savory banana. They're really tasty, and then there's some salt on there. So you're getting carbs, and then when you're sweating, you're releasing a lot of sodium and potassium. So we want to make sure that we're getting some extra sodium in. So these are quick and easy to have maybe in between games or at halftime to try and get your carbs back up and get a little bit of sodium in you. These are also really good with like almond butter or peanut butter for a snack, and really quick and easy and versatile to take to class. Last but not least, sweet potatoes. So sweet potatoes, they are 89 cents each. You can even get them cheaper if you buy them in bulk, like in a whole package together. And sweet potatoes are rich in a lot of different minerals and vitamins. So they're orange on the inside, so it shows that they have lots of something called beta carotene or vitamin A in them. And they're really gentle and easy to digest. So typically I'll have athletes even pre-cook some of these and eat them after their games or in between. And they're an awesome starch to pair. That's a little bit lower in carbs, but still really great option for carbohydrates. That's not a grain option. So say you're having issues with grains or you're gluten-free, great option. Also, if you're gluten-free or struggle with gluten, I know lots of people have food sensitivities. All of these options, so oats are gluten-free naturally, rice is gluten-free naturally, and red lentil pasta. The tortillas are not, and the plantain chips are as well. So those are your carb options. All right, so the next section that we're going to, so we just started with carbs, so we're kind of doing it by macronutrients. So, and we'll talk about at every meal, if you're making a meal, you want to have one of each of the macronutrients. So you want to have a protein, you want to have a healthy fat, and you want to have a carbohydrate as well. Now, as athletes, we'll go more into depth in the lecture on what to eat pre and post game, and you want to keep that mostly to carbohydrates and protein. Fat can kind of be harder to digest and slower, so it might make you feel sluggish during your game. But you need to have all three of them at meals. So when we're looking at fats, of course we have the classics. We have olive oil, avocados, olives, coconut oil, butter. But as an athlete, you might want to think about putting things together, things that have fat and protein together. So nuts are an amazing option. So Trader Joe's is one of my favorite places to buy nuts because they have such a great variety. And you can get them at a really great price. And you can kind of make your own, mix and match to make your own trail mix. So macadamia nuts are really tasty and higher in fat than any other nuts. So they're great to top on salads, just eat plain. Fat also makes you feel fuller longer and keeps you nice and satisfied. So if you're running in between classes and you don't have a lot of time to eat, you're gonna get a little bit of protein and some fat. So this will keep you full and satisfied and concentrating in class. Then we have some almonds, and then we also have fancy nuts. So this is a nice little mix of cashews, almonds, and peanuts, it looks like. So really any nuts, and these are amazing. So when you're thinking about pairing everything together with your carbohydrates, your fats, and your protein, say you're making breakfast, maybe you want to have some oatmeal, and we'll talk about protein in a second, but I'm just going to draw it in here. You mix it with some whey protein, and then you top it with some macadamia nuts. That's a perfect meal. It's all nice and balanced. So nuts are really great. They're also a great option because you can carry them and take them anywhere, no refrigeration. And then this, I feel like, is an athlete's best friend, is peanut butter, because it's a quick and easy fat and protein together. Also something that tastes really good mixed in oatmeal with whey protein. So this you could even keep in your bag and have it with an apple or a piece of fruit or some veggies as a quick snack, or something before a game or before a workout. All right, so next and last but not least, we have protein. So protein is the typical macronutrient that athletes think of because they think, okay, protein equates muscle, which is totally true, and it also maintains muscle. But it's really, really hard to get it in because I think that protein is tough because it takes the longest to cook. And so it's hard to find quick and easy protein sources to get them in. So typically then athletes rely, again, back on carbohydrates, which then, yes, they give you some energy, but it doesn't stay with you for a long period of time, and it doesn't also maintain your muscle mass that you're working so hard to have and use during your games. So a really amazing protein source is eggs. It's cheap. This is $2.19. Each egg has about 7 to 8 grams of protein. You can hard boil these, take them to class. You can make an egg scramble. You can make your breakfast burritos and have those ready to go. You can top a salad. Eggs are endless protein source that you can use and so versatile. So eggs are an amazing option. We have tuna, packaged tuna. This typically people either love tuna or they hate tuna, but this is a great option, rich in omega-3s, which are great anti-inflammatory components in food. As athletes, you guys are working out super hard, you get sore, that's inflammation. Omega-3s helps dampen that. So tuna, you can just take this and you can eat it. You could also mix it with an avocado and make a little tuna and avocado thing and eat it with your plantain chips or have it on a piece of bread and make a sandwich. But these are really great when you're traveling to have protein sources on the go because no refrigeration needed. These are amazing. These are my favorite. I keep these in my purse all the time. These are Chomps Bars. So they're beef sticks or turkey sticks, and they don't have any sugar. So typically beef jerky and jerky sticks actually have quite a bit of sugar in them. These don't have any. So they actually have 10 grams of protein in each little stick. And so we want to, make sure a female should be eating about 30 to 35 grams of protein at each meal. A male, probably 45 to 55. So if you think about it in that context, you want to think about how you kind of equate all of that together. But for a snack, these are perfect to take and eat before practice or eat before class. So these are great to-go ones. Protein powder really helps athletes get up to their adequate amount of protein without feeling like they have to just constantly eat. So I get this question often from athletes, what type of protein powder is the best? If you don't have a dairy allergy, whey protein is the best and most absorbed protein in the body coming from dairy. And so you get about 20 grams of protein per serving. So that's a really awesome. And whey usually tastes the best in general too, to mix into your oatmeal. You can use it for smoothies. You could mix it into yogurt and make it a really protein-rich yogurt. And then if you do have a dairy intolerance, pea protein is usually the highest in protein and the best absorbed in the body. But this is really tasty. Then Greek yogurt. This has, let's take a look on these. Greek yogurt, the plain right here, this has 14 grams of protein. This only has 5. So not all Greek yogurts are created equal. So make sure to turn around on the label and check your protein amount and see how much is in there, because 14 grams of protein, say you mix it with your whey protein, you have a whole breakfast right there. And then you could top it with some nuts and some berries, and there you go. But these are really quick and easy snacks if you have access to refrigeration or it's cold outside. And then of course for other protein sources, typically all the meats, so chicken, beef, pork, all of those together, those are great, but usually not super affordable options for students because proteins tend to be more expensive. And so going with like canned tuna, eggs, Greek yogurt, protein powders are awesome. And then my favorite tip is buying a rotisserie chicken, shred it, and then having that as a really easy protein option as well. All right, and last but not least, we're gonna be talking about some fun ways to include vegetables into your diet because not everybody loves vegetables. And so there's some really cool items, not just at Trader Joe's, but other different grocery stores where you can include vegetables without feeling like you're just having to eat a salad all the time. So this is hopefully not new to anybody, but rice cauliflower, you can get this in the frozen department or in the fresh department. And I substitute this out for rice when I'm trying to add in extra vegetables. And sometimes people don't like the taste of cauliflower because it is stinky and has a lot of sulfur. I love making Mexican rice out of this, and all those Mexican spices actually kind of take that sulfur taste right out of it. So I really love the frozen one because then I don't have to worry about it going bad, but the fresh is awesome as well. So we've got that, and that's $2.49. I think it's a little bit cheaper frozen, but either one is a great option. Another thing to remember is that frozen isn't worse than fresh. So everybody's always thinking, okay, I have to buy all of my fruits and vegetables fresh. That's not necessarily true. Number one, however it's going to get more vegetables than you, do that. That's the first thing. Secondly, typically fruits and vegetables are frozen as soon as they're picked and at the peak of their ripeness. And so they actually typically will have more nutrients than fresh, dependent on how far the produce is traveling. So if you're worried about wasting your money on vegetables or fruits and you don't know how to cook them and you're worried about them going bad, buy frozen. They're usually cheaper, and then you're gonna have options always available in your freezer. Another thing that I love from Trader Joe's and I have in my other grocery stores is cauliflower pizza. This is really easy for you when you're running home from class, you didn't plan anything, you've got your cauliflower pizza, got a little bit of marinara sauce, you can throw a bunch of vegetables, and then some maybe chicken or some turkey pepperoni, and then you quickly have a weeknight meal that's super tasty, and you got some extra vegetables in it. So frozen is great. Have fresh when you can. Eating seasonally can also really help with your budget. So if you're having, when you're in the grocery store, try and buy stuff that's in season because it's typically going to be a lot cheaper. So right now, like citrus, pears, apples, sweet potatoes, root vegetables are in season right now, and in winter, squashes. So those are going to be much more affordable than trying to have a watermelon or tomatoes right now. So try and go with the seasons. That's also really helpful. Now, I also wanted to take mention of some couple really fun things that you can add. So this is kind of a new thing, this peanut butter powder. So they kind of extract, it's still got a little bit of fat, but it's higher in protein than normal peanut butter. So just 2 tablespoons of this has 7 grams of protein. And so you can mix it in anything like smoothies or your yogurt or some oatmeal. And so a fun thing that sometimes I'll do when I'm too busy is take a mason jar. I put some oats in here. I put some peanut butter powder. Maybe I'll put some nuts in there. And I get to my job and I can boil some water, and then you've got some oatmeal to go. And you can typically, I'm sure, on campus find some hot water somewhere. So you could pre-make a bunch of little superfood oatmeals and take them to go. But this packs a nice little punch of protein and flavor, peanut butter flavor. And then cacao powder, which is the fancy name for chocolate. And typically, most athletes are running low on magnesium, and cacao is extremely rich in magnesium. So if you're low on magnesium, you're typically getting lots of cramps in your legs or struggling with some fatigue. So adding a little bit of cacao powder to your smoothie or your oatmeal is a great way to up your magnesium. And then lastly, one of my favorite things to include as snacks is dried fruit. Now, dried fruit isn't all created equal either. Typically, dried fruit, they're adding extra sugar on it. Dried fruit is sweet enough on its own. When they dry fruit, it condenses the sugar molecules and makes them more dense, so it's sweeter. So we really don't need any extra sugar. Dried apricots are really delicious. They're also amazing for athletes because they're really rich in potassium. And so if you're in the middle of a game and you're getting a leg cramp, and you know it's not a magnesium deficiency, you're probably low on potassium. And so you're going to get a nice little punch of some carbs and potassium mid-game, and it will really help you out. They're also really tasty for just a snack in general. And $3.99. So you could just keep these in your game bag for later. And then mangoes are just my favorite. These are just mangoes. Typically mangoes have sugar on them, so you really want to check on the ingredients, and it just says dried mangoes. So great, no added sugar. So these are tasty, great to have post-workout because you're going to get some carbohydrates to replenish what you burnt through. And then they're quick and easy to keep in your bag as well. And then last but not least, figs. These figs are super delicious. They're really great if you smear a little bit of peanut butter on them for a post-workout snack. So you're going to get some carbs and some protein all together. And that's what we have. So hopefully that gave you guys some different ideas for different meals. Again, when you're making your meals, carbohydrate, protein, and healthy fat all together, and try and throw some vegetables in there, and you should be okay. All right, so if you guys want to get a hold of me, I am the integrative nutritionist up at the Metabolic Institute on the South Hill, and I'm also a professor at Great Northern University, so you guys can send me an email at kgregg@saybrook.edu, and thanks for having me. I'm gonna take these. Okay, oh, I didn't know if we were cutting right after that. Okay. To do with my hands until where you want to start fueling. Cut it. I'll give you a call if you guys have any questions. Oh shit, that was supposed to I was like, okay, let's do it. It's like, what's my name? What do I do? It's like your elevator pitch. Like, what? Oh, dang it, I just lost my train of thought. Okay. So, thanks for having me. Thank you for coming. You guys can email me at kgregg@saybrook.com. Actually, my wrong email! You got vegetables to make them easily. Darn it. Start over.